Okay, I'm going to run the program to show an example, and then I'll go over the code for week 5, the end week assignment, which you also use midweek 6. All the assignments, I put a deadline of Saturday midnight, so you can work on those plus the last one. You can bounce back between them. The third one is pretty short. It's not coding, it's more of looking at an existing tool that you can use, or what's out there. It's a small one, but okay. So you have to have 2 windows open, 2 command windows. Now, you have to start the server first, so it can wait for the transmission from the client. And I just added a little output that says it's waiting for transmission, so I'll know that, yeah, I've made it that far, it's executing. Now, from the client, okay, make sure I type this in correctly. Oh, nope, got to change directories to where I need to, where my program is right now. Okay, eVersity, my IT directory, my assignment directory, and here we go. Now I can do it. Java, DP, client. Now I type in my payload, or think of it as an email that's going to be transmitted, the message part of it, the body of it. Just anything that's transmitted that you want to make sure that it makes it. Now, I didn't have you do encryption really on this, or anything that would show a true simulation, because I would never use this program if I were really wanting to make sure that a transmission made it. This is just for simulation to show how you can check data or the packets going between a client and a server, and did the information make it without any interference? Did they add anything? Did they take anything away? Did they alter anything in it? Okay, so now I'm just going to put in, this is the new key. Now, that's the payload. That's not my secret key. This is the payload, or the string that's going to get transmitted. So I hit enter. Now, it went really quick. I made it so that whenever it transmitted, it went in and messed with the data. So it's going to tell me that it failed because between the client and the server, I changed a few of the letters in here, so it would give me a bad it would give me a transmission. Okay. Now, from here, that's how you execute it. Now, if we look at the code, all right. So what happens whenever I'm running? I start the server. And again, I gave you this code because I couldn't count on the fact that all the students have been through a back-end programming or working with sockets or anything that would simulate this transmission. Okay, so this is code that, just so you'll know what's going on, it's just creating a socket, a connection, or a place to connect using that port from the client to the server. I create 2 byte arrays to do the transmission, and that's as big as I can send information in. And here's my waiting for transmission. So it sits there and hits this loop and just keeps looping and looping and looping and looping until it actually receives something. So over on the client, again, this in from user is where I typed in the payload or the message. Now from here, I've got to create my socket, my address, and the name of it. I'm getting it by name. We're running a simulation here, so it's the local host. 2 more places, 2 more byte arrays, and then this line 15 gets the information from the user. It reads the line that I typed in. Now here's what I did. Yours has code in there to uppercase things from the client and the server. That's the code you would replace. Okay, I put it in there. So here I'm just going through a string that I typed in, and for each character in the payload, I am casting it or converting it to the ASCII value and adding them all up. Then I'm adding that to what I already typed in. So it will have my total number, comma, the string. Translate it into bytes, send it with the other data that's needed. That's my payload with my checksum for the ASCII values. Here's the checksum for the length of the entire message. Then my address and my port. And I send it. Now at that point, it switches over to the server. It receives it. I get it and put it in a string. Here I just display it to show there is a display. And yes, I spelled that wrong. Now from here, I want to break this string up and separate out the message payload from the checksum or the entire ASCII values. Okay, so I need to, once it gets to the server, do the exact same thing I did to the payload to get the server-side checksum, the one that's received, compare the two and see if they're the same. So I go in and I substring it. I put my checksum at the beginning of the sentence from position 0 to where I found the comma. Put that inside my checksum. Convert it to numbers. Now I go through again the whole length of what's left. And I don't want anything in the comma. Okay? So at this point, I'm going through and looking at it for the entire length. I don't want, again, the comma or any spaces that are in there. I don't want to add those up. I add them all up. If this is not true, I don't need anything else. The length. Okay, I want out of the loop. So the minute I hit my comma, I want out. Now, I guess I should explain this. The reason I'm starting at I++ is because I left I at the comma. I need the next character past the comma so I can get my sentences. All right, so here we go. I display what I received. I get all the information. And I check what I got out of from the client, check it against what I just calculated in the server, and just send good or bad. This could be anything that you want to indicate that it succeeded versus it did not succeed. And I'm literally sending one of those words back to the client. Once it gets back, 27 kicks in, gets the packet, put it in a sentence or a string, check to see if it's a good transmission or a not a good transmission. Now again, this is what you set from the server to see, did it succeed or not succeed. That could be anything you want to indicate a good or a bad. And I just check to see if it's not equal to good, then someone messed with the data, it failed. If that is not true, then good came through and my data transmission, it was a success. displayed and got out of it. So at this point, that's the code. You're adding the part that you're going to send and check on the server to make sure that your data is good. Now, another way this could be done is if you use a key in an algorithm to come up with good or bad, then you would use the key to create a success or a non-success, send the key over to the server side, and use it to do the exact same thing. I guess what I'm getting at is you are duplicating the process in the client and the server so you can match up and make sure that the data made it. It has to be somehow based on the information that's transmitted, though. That's the only way, if it's based on that data that's sent, that you can determine if, in fact, it's the exact same that was sent. I hope this helps you, because the next assignment is to break the message, the email body per se, into 3 parts. And just like the counter that to look at the mode of operation, the first feeds into the second feeds into the third. So by the time you get done, you have taken a number that you have gotten from the first part, fed it into the second part to come up with a number that goes into the third part to come up ultimately with the key. You have to make sure you do it on the other side. So whatever algorithm you come up with, whether you use an existing one or you come up with one of your own, then that is what you have to duplicate it on the client and the server. And again, it's based upon your sentence that's typed in that is broken into 3 parts. Okay, hope that helps you.